Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Slick Muff and I'm back again with another video, and in today's video I wanted to address DC fanboys, not to be confused with DC fans. Two very different people and types of people. At first I thought it was a DC fanboy, so to speak, and the reason I thought it was a DC fanboy is because I kind of unrelentingly love DC and prefer it to Marvel. And with this whole DC versus Marvel fan war thing, you always hear thrown around whenever one prefers one over the other. In the comments, people rush to say, I like both equally, which is pretty much a lie. I mean, very few people I know actually like both completely equally. I mean, certainly you have some preferences one over the other. Generally, if you're asking it from a more unbiased perspective, DC has better comics overall. Marvel has not better movies, more movies, I guess, to be fair. And, DC most certainly has better animated movies, and then I would probably say Marvel has higher quality television shows, but not necessarily better, as in the sense Daredevil and Jessica Jones, they're very high quality, but I guess if they're better, that's kind of preferential. But that's just kind of the overview of which is better. Marvel dominates movies, DC dominates comics, and, games, definitely in terms of DC, they've got Batman Arkham games, and they've also got the new Batman Telltale game coming out. But then again, a Telltale Marvel game's coming in 2017 as well, so it's not like, Marvel games are going to be extinct, but I definitely think that, DC has the advantage in games. Anyway, so the point being, they're pretty equal in many different aspects, and, you always see people rush to say, I like both equally, to try to say on the intermediary, so to speak. To me, I'm kind of unrelenting in the fact that I just prefer DC. As a kid, I really loved Marvel, and I never read DC. Now, as, I'm older or whatever, I prefer DC. I don't read much Marvel, and that's just kind of the way it goes. And, I really connect to a lot of the DC characters. I don't dislike Marvel. I'm going to watch Civil War on, the midnight premiere or what have you, but that's just my personal preference. I think everybody has their own. And I come asking, am I the only one that has noticed this? I've noticed this in the last few months, but this is actually a little video that was inspired by the Real Comic Book Gamers tweet, and essentially what he said is that DC fanboys are among the worst, type of fanboys on YouTube. And I began thinking about it. I was like, that's kind of true. I've seen on videos, for whatever reason, DC fanboys, and again, not fans, DC fanboys, take it very personally when they are kind of attacked by, Marvel fanboys or what have you. And, whenever I see anybody have even just the slightest concern about Batman v Superman, say maybe it's not going to be that great, maybe they're saying they're not looking forward to Batman v Superman, DC fanboys take it personally. And you could say that Marvel fanboys do the same, and certainly to a degree that happens, but I think DC's a little more radical. I wonder if you guys have seen the same, but, with the Drew from HitFix guy who's, claiming to have all these things that he knows about the DCEU, which he pretty much probably doesn't, but nonetheless he's saying that he does. DC fans take it personally, and they were attacking this guy, death threats left and right everywhere. It's like, Jesus Christ, relax, guys. And in the new video, the movie fights, where everybody takes a different side, so they were talking about Batman v Superman. If you don't know how movie fights work, you have three different people. One is going to say they love the movie, one's going to say they're going to love the movie, or they think it's going to be great, and then another person's going to say, I think the movie's going to be okay, and then one person takes a side of the movie's going to suck. And they don't necessarily agree with their fight, or who they're saying, because maybe they all think the movie's going to be amazing, but if they just all argue that the movie's going to be amazing, then it's movie agreements, not movie fights. Okay, so I think we all understand why they do that, so everybody takes a different side. But they made this video and it was titled, Will Batman v Superman Suck? And that was just basically what they were discussing. They were discussing, is it going to suck? One person was saying it was going to, one person saying it was going to be okay, and then one person was saying that it's going to be amazing, and then they debated. That's kind of the whole point of it. And in the comments, it's just movie fights. That's what they do. They just discuss things. And in the comments, it was ridiculous, an absurd amount of dislikes. Everybody's like, oh, this again, oh, the media has a bias against DC, blah, blah, blah. And maybe that's true, I don't know. But even then, my point in saying that, so what if it's true? So what if the media has a bias against DC? It's almost like DC fanboys need to be reaffirmed of their own, fandom of DC. And it's really weird to me because I'm just very confident in my own fandom of DC, I suppose. But it really does seem that way, that it's almost like DC fanboys need to have other people's opinions that reflect their own regurgitated in them to be truly convinced that Batman v Superman is going to be amazing. In order to be really convinced they think Batman v Superman is going to be good, they need to hear other people, their favorite YouTube personalities, say that. But me, I watch movie fights, and they definitely lean towards Marvel, but my question is, why does that matter? Let them lean towards Marvel, much in the same way that you commenting and myself making this video lean towards DC. So I think everybody has their own preferences. That's the biggest fallacy of the fan war, is that you have to love both equally, and that's just not true. I prefer DC over Marvel, and if you're watching this video, I can pretty much assure at least 80% of you are going to be the same, because again, I have a channel based off Batman and, you know, DC characters. So with that being said, I just encourage everybody to chill out, especially if you're one of those people that is going into the movie fight comments and leaving death threats and saying to love both equally, love DC equally. You know, they don't have to. Just in the same way that you don't have to. And I'm aware that the majority of you watching this are not doing the kind of behavior that I'm talking about, but even then, you know, try to, you know, avoid, or I guess discourage that kind of behavior, because it does make DC fans look bad. Wouldn't you agree? You know, I definitely have not received death threats from Marvel fans when I say that I think Batman v Superman is going to be better than Civil War, which I've said multiple times. So I don't think that anybody else should be received death threats because they think that Civil War is going to be better than Batman v Superman. It really is just, you know, first of all, we've not seen either of the movies, but beyond that, you can have your own preferences. I think that's perfectly okay. Marvel and DC, we can just see tonally. They're very different movies. You can very blatantly see that they're very different, so everybody has their own preferences, and that's just movies. I mean, comics, a lot of my favorite comic book characters, you know, Bruce Wayne, Barbara Gordon, etc., Nightwing, they're all DC characters. I really like Spider-Man, but beyond that, I've not read to a lot of depth a lot of Marvel comics. I've read a lot of Punisher as well, but that's just kind of where I stand. I'm not ashamed to admit that I like both equally. And it seems that you either love both equally, or you're so much of a fanboy one way or the other that it's like repulsive to have other people express opinions that are different than your own. So I would just say everybody should chillax, you know, all the comments in the HitFix Guys videos, and, you know, the other videos of people saying they prefer Marvel over DC, I would say just let it happen. And, you know, I think that they're going to be amazed when they see Batman v Superman. I think it's going to blow a lot of people out of the water. But I definitely do think that DC fanboys, again, not DC fans, because I don't see DC fans saying the kind of thing. The DC fanboys, generally under the age of 12, not always, but often, you know, to definitely relax a little bit, because, you know, we can all love what we're going to love. We're all going to enjoy the movie, but I definitely think that we should be more open to people that have different opinions than us, because that's just kind of what YouTube's about. It's about expressing your own opinion and being creative and everything like that. So that's all I have for today's video. Just food for thought, something to consider. Maybe I'm not the only one that's recognized it. Maybe I am the only one. Am I the only one that's seen this? The DC fanboys are a little more hostile than the Marvel fanboys. Not even a little. I've noticed it quite a bit. It's pretty bad. And it is true to be said that DC movies come under more flack and are hated on more often than Marvel movies. I accept that, but at the same time, I really do think that DC fanboys should be a little bit more open to other people's opinions. So, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I'd love to know your thoughts on this topic in the comment section below. My name's Slickmoff, and we will see you in the next one.